Welcome back to the Bitcoin Sports Network podcast, where we blend excitement with competition to create unforgettable experiences. Our mission is to empower Bitcoin one competition at a time and help orange pill the world.
Thank you, Gabriel Campa. Let me read this. Have a seat, my friend. Is the head of digital assets at Towerbank International, Inc., leading the integration of traditional banking and blockchain and cryptocurrency technology since January 22. He's been pioneering new markets, leveraging his architectural background and passion for innovation to drive technology advancements in finance. Gabriel, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Max.
That's cool, man. So I know Tower Bank's mostly in Panama. Are you mostly in Panama?
Not really. I'm traveling all over the world, trying to expand what we're trying to do for the Bitcoin industry.
What are you trying to do?
Integrate digital assets, specifically Bitcoin, with traditional banking, and giving access to all the products that in the U.S. and Europe we've always had access to. Bring it down to Central South America.
Now, in Central America, Tower Bank is leaps and bounds ahead of everybody. They were the first to embrace Bitcoin. They have a very pro-Bitcoin kind of mentality and a policy. I know a lot of people in countries, including El Salvador, they do their banking in Panama because, quite frankly, the banking in El Salvador is not as good as Panama. So what makes you guys realize early on that this was the future?
Well, I would say that at the end of 2021, we realized and we recognized that traditional banking was exhausted, right? All the banks are doing exactly the same things with the same restrictions, with the same barriers, and every day gets more expensive to the everyday user. And that's something that Bitcoin and digital assets bring to the market. Makes it cheaper, brings control back to the end user, and that's what we're trying to integrate, what we're integrating in the bank. We're trying to make it easier for the end user. At the end of the day, we're going to give you the option to do traditional banking or digital assets banking, but at the end of the day, it's the same product. You can use it how you want. The money is yours. The Bitcoins are yours. We just give you access to financial products where you can use in your everyday lives.
All right. Now, in the intro, it says that you're leveraging your architectural background. What is your architectural background?
Well, I didn't study finance. I didn't study technology. I studied architecture, traditional architecture. And when you want to build something new that doesn't exist, and you want to build it from the ground up, you have to think out of the box, try to think what's the end goal, try to think what the client wants. And at the end of the day, we've built everything based on our clients, right? We went to Bitcoin users. We went to digital assets users. We tried to understand their pains and what they want to do with their digital assets and bring those products to market.
So as an architectural student and practitioner, you are familiar with IMPay.
Correct.
Is he overrated?
Many of them are very overrated.
No, well, I mean, I guess his most famous work is the pyramid at the Louvre, right? So that was a solution to create an entrance for the Louvre because the Louvre had been built up over hundreds of years, and there were many different entrances, and there was no coordinated entrance, and so it was a bit of a clusterfuck, if I may use that architectural term. So IMPay comes in, and he puts in that pyramid in the center, and it attracted a lot of controversy because it's very modern, but nevertheless, the pyramid is an ancient structure. How do you weigh in on this debate?
Well, let's go to what banking is. Traditional banking is very, very old. We've been doing the exact same things for many, many years, and nothing has changed. Now you have digital wallets, and you have credit cards, and all that stuff, but it's still the same thing. We're still giving out loans, doing credit scoring, and trying to know what you had for breakfast and for lunch or for dinner, and when it really doesn't really matter. Now we're doing Bitcoin-backed loans. I don't need to know how much money you make a day, how much money you make a year. I have your Bitcoin in guarantee. I know you're going to pay me back. Or I have your Bitcoin and I know I can sell it tomorrow, right, in seconds. Fortunately, in the past couple of years, Bitcoin has been more and more solid. In the past year, it's getting more and more, even more solid. We have over $10 million in loans right now going on. They all started around 120, 130K Bitcoin. We haven't liquidated one position of none of our clients. That's how solid it is. We give our clients enough time to cover the collateral. They have access to funds immediately. I think in average it takes us to get out of a loan in 5 minutes. Where do you hear a loan up to $250,000 in minutes?
Right. So traditionally, banks use housing as collateral. So to put up your house to get collateral, you have to have somebody do an assessment of the value of that house. You have to prove that you. What the hell just happened?
I was expected on stage.
I was just thinking about Stacy Herbert, and she popped into the 3D world. This is incredible.
Yes, yes. And this meeting, by the way, is a result of Max and I going to Panama City. Did you already talk about that? We went to...
No, Stacy, I don't know if you caught the first half of this interview, being wherever you were just 20 seconds ago. But no, we didn't cover that. As a matter of fact, I was right in the middle of a question.
Okay. Hi, everybody. No.
I just want to finish this thought. So you're putting up housing as collateral, right? And you have to get the house has to be assessed for the value. What do they call that process? The house is assessed, appraised, yeah. Right? You have to have it appraised. And you have to prove that you own the house. You have to prove that there's no encumbrances on that house. And so that takes time and it costs money.
But not only take time and money, but when the bank has to take the property into control because the person didn't pay,
right.
Normally they have to keep that property for a year. And that's money the bank is losing. So that makes the entire process even more expensive. And when you get out a loan, they transfer that cost to you because banks have to expect that they're going to lose money in some projects.
Okay, so...
you have to maintain the property, too. That happened during the great mortgage crisis of 2008, 2009 in the United States. And plus, it's very difficult to kick families out, especially if they're little kids or old people in the house. Like, you can't just kick them out onto the street.
But you didn't have any trouble last year. Remember you kicked those old people out?
No, I kicked you out.
Oh, that's right. Well, I'm old. I'm 68 years old.
No, you're not. You keep on adding another year every hour.
Why is that?
Anyway,
what? So here we are with the Towerbank man, and so Bitcoin is a pristine collateral, and it streamlines everything. It's cheaper. So how come you charge more for the loan?
Why do we charge more? Well, first of all, it's a very expensive product to build, right?
Okay.
And it's a business. But at the end of the day, if you look at, no one wants to sell their Bitcoin, right? If you look at the overall growth of Bitcoin over time, no one minds paying that percentage in interest, knowing that they have access to capital immediately.
Okay, so it's market-driven. So the demand is, in the market is that people anticipate Bitcoin compounding at 40, 50% a year. So if they're paying, let's say, 9% or 9.5% for a loan, the expectation is that you're still making a 40% or plus spread on that, and that's the market. So you're in the market, and so you are part of the market. Stacy, did you have something you wanted to add?
I would add, yeah. I was going to say it's obviously market-driven, right? Because the customers and the clients are willing to pay that. Look at Michael Saylor is offering 11% on his preferreds. Okay, so he's willing to pay 11% to essentially borrow dollars to buy more Bitcoin. So that's what the market is, right? People are, but maybe we keep on hearing about yet another bank is entering the sector, and I assume markets will also drive through competition, will drive down the interest rates.
We're expecting that to happen sooner rather than later, right? At the end of the day, it's all market-driven, and it will go down over time. But one of the beauties of this industry that there's enough profit for everybody, so we invite the competition. The more competition, the better for the user, because this is all user-focused, right? One of the biggest problems that we have today is that we're not enough players in the industry doing what we do, and a lot of people are getting affected by that.
Yeah, and having been part of this whole Bitcoin country process, I will also say that at a nation-state level or an institutional level, while you're the trailblazer, there are sort of international regulators and FATF and all those sort of bodies that the cost that you're talking about of introducing these products is for a totally new, novel, unique, trailblazing product, they really want to examine and see what it is.
But apart from that, if you, for example, if you go into the bank's website and you compare our traditional banking cost, where we charge our clients, and to the Ikigii cost our clients, they're way cheaper on the site because the profit is somewhere else, right? I'm trying to eliminate all these hidden costs and fees that you get from banks every single day and transfer it to the day-to-day operations of converting digital assets to dollars, dollars to digital assets, or taking custody of your digital assets, or it's a new way of doing banking. So yes, it might be a bit higher in fees when it comes to on and off ramp, but we are reducing a whole bunch of things on the other side because I'm like the rest of the people. Every time I get charged from a bank for a ridiculous fee, I'm like, why the heck am I getting charged for this? All right, so I'm trying to eliminate all those old fees and hidden costs and trying to be as transparent to our clients to see, all right, you're going to pay this, and this is what you're going to get.
So your Bitcoin loan book is $10 million?
Right now, we have around $10 million in loans.
So I'm your only customer.
If you want to say that's what you have with us.
Yeah, no, but I do want to say, like, Max and I started with our reporting on Kaiser report in 2008, 2009 during the financial crisis. And that's one thing, like, as a nation state or a region like Panama, and Panama has 150 banks versus 5 or 6 here, is that the stability to the financial system actually goes up when you have more Bitcoin as collateral, because the reason why there was such a global financial crisis was all of that mortgage, the property loans underwrote the entire fiat banking system, and it's impossible to price and liquidate, right? So we don't have that problem. You as the bank don't have a liquidation problem with Bitcoin as collateral.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, if you ask for a house loan, it's going to take maybe a week, 3 weeks to get the loan. If you ask for a Bitcoin-backed loan, you'll get it in 5 minutes. I mean, that's the...
And if somebody fails to meet their margin or whatever...
It sells in seconds.
You liquidate it in seconds. Right? Versus 2 years. Some loans, it took 2 years to liquidate in the U.S. during the crisis, especially if there's millions of homes that are have to be put through the system.
Yeah. Where are we in the program? Where's Jethro?
We could open it up for questions if you would like.
Do it.
Because does anybody have questions for Ikigii for Towerbank?
Any questions? Oh, look, here's something in the audience.
We have one question over here.
All righty. Yes.
Did you get any pushback from other banks when you went to crypto?
When we announced that we were a crypto-friendly bank in Panama, this was around 2 or 3 years ago when Panama went the banking association, and they were trying to pass a law which was Bitcoin and crypto-friendly, and they revoked the law. We went against it. Some of them thought we were nuts, what we were doing. The regulator thought that we had gone crazy on what we were doing, but when we explained to them what we were doing, how we were doing it, they were very supportive at the end of the day. Most of the banks in the region come to us and ask us how we're doing it, because many times what you hear is, I know the U.S. correspondent banks don't want these kind of operations, which is not true, right? If you do it right, you're good to go. But the key part is to do it right. But yes, we got some pushback, but we went through it. But the key factor here was that we started small, right? We tried to understand how to do this, how to do it right, how to use traditional regulation to work with this new financial industry.
But you didn't need a new law in Panama. So in El Salvador, we needed a new law, but you didn't need a new law because in El Salvador, the traditional banking system, you're taking deposits from retail. Do you take deposits from retail at Towerbank?
We do take deposits for retail, but the digital, something that we did different is what they just did in the U.S., that they're allowing banks to do trust, to take into... In Panama, we were allowed to do that. So what we did is the digital asset business is done by our trust. The traditional banking is done by the bank. So all the digital assets operations done in the bank are the client's operations. So the bank doesn't touch crypto. doesn't touch Bitcoin. The Bitcoin belongs to our clients, the stable coins belong to our clients, and we just do the operation in the back end for them.
Okay, that's really important. And so you need to have a firewall between the two. And do you have any sort of, like in El Salvador, we have our Bitcoin bank law, and it's for high net worth individuals. It's basically like a private investment banking law, private banking law. So it's kind of like the old Goldman Sachs before it failed because of all the mortgage-backed securities in 2008 and had to become a bank. So do you have any income sort of, like, do they have to be qualified investors?
No, in the bank, we have clients that do, I don't know, $25 operations, and we have clients that do $2, $3, $4 million operations. The way we created the product is for everybody. It doesn't matter if you make $10, doesn't make if you make $1 million, because that's what Bitcoin was created for. Bitcoin wasn't created for the rich. It was created for everybody, right? So we're doing the same thing with these products. We're making it available to everybody. It doesn't matter what financial profile you have.
And so what is your impression from Panama? Like we went there, we visited Mayor Meyer, and you know, the federal government there, the national government isn't, say, as like Bitcoin friendly as, well, Panama City is 80% of your economy, right? So Panama City has a lot of power. So
I would say that the current government is not against digital assets or Bitcoin. They just have a lot on their plate, right? So they're trying to focus on fixing the economy, fixing a lot of issues that we have locally. And what they have done is they have not put restriction to banks do what they do, right? So what the regulator said is not prohibited, is not regulated. You're a regulated entity, you can do it, right? And we work side by side with the regulator. This other bank that's going to launch the product got approval from the regulator as well. At the end of the day, is they're not preventing it from happening, but they're allowing regulated entities to do it because at the end of the day, we've been doing this for many, many years, and it's the same rules, right? You don't have to reinvent the rules to do digital assets. Actually, digital assets are better. Bitcoin is better for regulation because it's 100% traceable. We know where the funds are going. We know where they're coming from. We know if they're related to sanctioned entities or not related to sanctioned entities, right?
yeah, and for Panama, it's easier because you had 150 banks already. Here, if we only have 5 or 6, like those, the integrity of those banks are like more important because that is your financial system. But so when you're viewing El Salvador and the transformation of El Salvador over the past few years, I mean, you must have seen not only the security situation. I mean, Mayor Meyer came here just recently, and he had never been here before. And though he grew up in Panama, just like a 2-hour flight away, had you ever been to El Salvador before?
Well, I've lived the change because I've been coming to El Salvador since 2019. So I've seen the difference. I remember when I had to get picked up in the airport in an armored car, 2 cars picking me up with a couple of drivers, and now I just grab an Uber and I go anywhere, walk anywhere. You can see the difference. You can feel the difference in the air. Not only that, you see much better restaurants in the country coming in, much better. I mean, you can see the difference in the country, how everything is changing for the better.
I mean, but Panama has long been, you know, they've had capital markets for a long time there. It's a destination to park your capital. So you're familiar with capital markets and being an attractive market to invest in. So for the first time, I mean, do you feel that here that El Salvador is like an investable market now?
I think it's going in that direction. I think El Salvador was under a very tough situation for many, many years, and that takes a long time to fix. I think there's a lot of things happening in the world that are making things even more difficult, especially in the region. And we're feeling that in Panama. I mean, Panama for many years was very highly investable. For the past 2-3 governments, it lost its investment grade for many, many situations. And we're going back in that direction. And it takes time to fix. This is something you can't fix overnight. But it's going in that direction.
But you're here. The number one thing to fix is confidence. You need to feel safe. You need to feel confident in the continuity of the government. You need to feel safe in the leadership that they're not going to take your stuff, which past governments have, or it's been very unstable here. But there's as an outsider observing and representing a lot of capital, like it feels like a safe place where the leadership.
Oh yeah, 100%. Right now, if you look at all the investment that's coming to El Salvador right now, I mean, let's just talk about the latest concert that's coming from Shakira. I mean, the Shakira concert that they're going to do here. I mean, you're talking about 4 or 5 dates.
Nice. Yeah,
right?
5 dates.
5 dates. The only country in the region that's getting it. I mean, at the end of the day, you're seeing all the interest coming into the country. You're seeing all the investments that are happening here. It is going in the right direction. I think they're taking the right steps, and they're really focusing on the future, right? Other countries in the region are still not seeing that where the focus has to be, which is AI, energy, digital assets. That's where everything is going, right? And I think with the latest news that was announced at Bitcoin Histórico, it's going in the right direction, definitely, without doubt.
Yeah, we made so many announcements. Not only we saw Mempool move here, we saw Steak and Shake, which is a big U.S. chain. It's a very high-end fast food chain. We have the Beef Initiative, creating an El Salvador brand of beef. We saw XAI right after that. We're partnered with XAI to co-develop an AI tutor program, the first in the world for public schools. So obviously we're moving in the right direction, but also as well, and obviously it can only be paso a paso, right? Like you can only take one step at a time. I mean, we're sprinting one step at a time, but it's good to have you here because maybe, in 2016, when the murder rate was the highest in the world, maybe Towerbank wouldn't want to even look at El Salvador. But I know that Towerbank received a lot of the provided banking services for a lot of Bitcoin companies in El Salvador. What came first? Was it did you start looking at El Salvador because you had so many clients suddenly from El Salvador, or did you start looking at El Salvador because of President Bukele and the first steps he was making to liberalize the economy?
We've done business in El Salvador for many, many years. Towerbank, before doing digital assets, was a corporate banking, right? So we financed a lot of operations here in El Salvador for many, many years. So we knew the market very well. But definitely when President Bukele took office and things started changing, it was the same companies and other companies coming into the country and people moving in, but the financial status of all those companies started changing, right? So, of course, normally we treat or digital assets companies or AAA traditional finance clients, right? And you're starting to see more of those clients coming to the region because they're looking for safe places to do business. Yeah. And that's why you're starting to see more of us today here. And now we're going to, apart from doing B2B, now we're going to start doing retail operations here with Ikigii.
So Ikigii, I know Max probably asked you, but if you can quickly explain to me, because I'm a potential customer here. Sell it to me, pitch it to me.
All right. Ikigii is the first, I think I can still say this, it is the first platform in the world that connects digital assets and traditional banking in US dollars in the world. So you can convert in seconds Bitcoin to US dollars to Bitcoin, back and forth, and do a wire transfer anywhere around the world. Or use your debit card, or use your credit card, or get access to a Bitcoin-backed loan. And there's more products coming out in the coming future, but it's the perfect platform that connects it all in one place.
When you say US dollars, are you saying stable coins, or is it actual fiat into your bank account?
Actual fiat into your bank account.
And you'll be accepting just Salvadoran customers, or like U.S.? Or?
No, the product is focused for Central and South America. The only market that we don't touch is the U.S. market because, to be honest, they don't need our services.
You don't need U.S. dollars there, right?
Right, and we have the U.S. dollars in Panama because Panama is U.S. dollar based.
Yeah. So you're going to be available throughout Central and South America, all of Latin America.
Ikigii is already available in, I would say, around 12 countries. It'll be available in El Salvador, I believe, this month. So you'll be able to download it from the App Store and from the Google Play Store. But yeah.
And can I link my U.S. bank account to it, or you don't?
I mean, you can receive a wire. It's a bank account, so you can transfer funds from your U.S. bank account to the bank.
But do you exclude U.S. customers at all? Like if they're
I don't
resident
exclude U.S. customer. If you're a U.S. customer living in Central South America, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, but in the U.S., the banking regulations are every 50 states you need a license. So it is.
Exactly. That's why.
It is kind of complicated.
That's why it's more, because I'm a U.S. citizen, right? So at the end of the day, in my case, I live in Panama. Yes, I have an account in the bank. In your case, you live here in El Salvador. Yes, you're a U.S. citizen. Yes, but you can still have an account with Ikigii.
Yeah. Okay. Well, any questions out there for Ikigii or Towerbank? No, everybody's shy out here. Okay. Well, Max and Jethro, do you have...
Yeah, we're ready for a major event coming up here in a second. And did you want to ask questions, or is this wrapping up?
I did ask the audience if they have any questions.
Any questions?
And nobody came forward with a question.
All righty. Well, let's move on. Thanks so much. Big round of applause.
No, thank you, Max. Thanks, Stacy. It's a pleasure.
All righty. Towerbank lead sponsor, Stacy Herbert.